Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I'm Dave.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, episode 69 today.
Make your own joke here. I'm not going there.
You don't got any Aunt Becky for us?
I have an Aunt Becky, but I'm not. But we're just gonna.
All right.
Yeah.
So ways to get a hold of us on the show is digitaltodice.com. Digitaltodice.com is our website where we put all of our shows over there on Spreaker. Also, the Dice line, 978-751-DICE, 978-751-3423 if you want to send us a text. We got a cafepress.com/digital to dice if you want to get some cool digital to dice gear.
Did our happy customer show off the goods?
Not yet. He said he's going to do an unboxing of some of the stuff that he got. So a few of you have ordered from our Cafe Press shop, cafepress.com/digital to dice if you want to pick up some digital to dice gear. And Ron, a brand new email I want to announce. Yeah. And I don't know why we waited so long. Again, I don't think we really thought, a year and a half in advance we'd still be going strong with the show. Not that we thought we wouldn't, but just we just started the show and having some fun. So anyway, digital to dice at yahoo.com. Digital to dice at yahoo.com. That way now we have an official email that you can get a hold of us and anything related to the show. And there was a few people, and why I did this because there was a few people that I got I have a bunch of different emails for different projects I do, and I was getting emails from all over the place, and I couldn't keep track of them because a lot of people wanted some of the cheat sheets for Fast Action Football and Gridiron Awards that I had made, and a couple of people looking for my shootout score sheets, and I was getting emails from everywhere and Delphi forums and stuff, and I was just like, man, I need like a central place because I was 3 or 4 days I didn't get back to anybody because I was trying to find I remember seeing that. Now where is it? So yeah, digital to dice at yahoo.com. You get a hold of me and Ron at that email right there, and you can anything that we can help you with or comments on the show. It's a good place to send that there. So now we have a place, digital to dice at yahoo.com. Let's see here. Awesome. Kicking things off on the show. Now that we get all that out of the way. Well, Ron, why don't you start? Today's topic. Let's go over to today's topic.
Yeah, go over the topic first.
Yeah, we had kicked around the idea of doing like an end of year review. I think we did one last year. A little bit. Yeah. But considering the year that we had, we hashed this over this morning and a little bit last night, and I said, I really, as much fun as I have in gaming, and I discovered a lot of games, and the podcast has grown, and the Facebook community's grown. Facebook.com/group/digital to dice is the Facebook group. 590. Almost at 600 people now, yeah. So everything has really grown for us this year. But the year itself has just been a bad one for me personally, and I just didn't want to relive any of that. Just didn't want to do it right now. So we shied away from an end-of-year review type of show, and we decided that we would mix things up for a week, and we're going to talk about non-sports games that we play. Because every now and then you want to take a break from the baseball, the hockey, the basketball, the football, or whatever you're playing there, and you want to just play something a little different. There's a few games that we've been playing we're going to talk about that's non-sports related, and it just was a nice break. It's a breath of fresh air, chance to play some different puzzle games and challenge your mind and learn some new things. That's not just another baseball game or another hockey game or something like that. So and we had talked about maybe doing that once in a while anyway. Is just kind of a non-sports type of show, because we know I know it's generally this is a sports topic, but it's not a complete. It's not sports only, and that's why you see a few people on our Facebook group posting a couple different games from time to time. Not that I want to turn it into a war gaming group or a video game group or anything like that, but just, there's a couple games I'm playing and then other people playing. It's nice to venture out a little bit. Yeah.
The E in ESPN is for entertainment.
It is.
And in fact, if they weren't sure when they started that people would watch sports 18 hours a day. Silly them.
Yeah.
And so it gave them an out if they had to go more in the direction of a USA or a TNT and just produce general programming. The sports obviously work.
There's actually another show out there. I think it's called Digital and Dice, and it's like a Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, well, that one makes sense.
Magic the Gathering. So,
well, we've done everything virtually this year.
Yeah.
But yes,
But it's just So we're mostly sports related, but it's not exclusively sports. And so today we're going to talk a little bit of some of the other games that we play that are non-sports related here as we wrap up 2020. Well, I suppose to kick things off, we should get to Aunt Becky and talk about what we're playing.
No, Aunt Becky, I'm not going to call your parole officer Uncle Louie.
She's out, right? She's out.
She's out, yep.
She's out, yep. So Aunt Becky's back to being whatever she's doing, applying for colleges again. I don't know what she's doing, but
always on tour.
All right. Well, to kick things off, I suppose we should, get the elephant in the room out of the way here. Ron had a serious issue happen this weekend here. He did a video on it on his channel, so if you want to check it out, find out exactly what happened. But Ron, just give us a quick tidbit. Like, what the heck happened this weekend?
We're still not entirely sure what happened. What we think happened was Sarah went to a coffee shop down the street, brought home a couple of iced coffees. Hers was decaf, mine was regular. She took a sip. I took a sip, and about 15 minutes later, I apparently went on one 14-and-a-half-hour long acid trip.
Wow.
Which at 49, I don't do any of that stuff. I haven't even had a drink in 13 months. It just messes my system up too much to do that. And so goodness knows what we actually took. We have our ideas what it was, and it was even worse than what we thought. But, there wasn't a hell of a lot of playing after Christmas.
Did you have anything that lasted more than 5 hours by chance?
I saw a lot of blue. Does that make any sense? I know you're supposed to take the little blue pill, but if it goes over 4 hours...
Yeah, no, you actually...
That would require that you could actually move for a while.
Oh, gee, yeah, you called me... late Saturday afternoon before supper.
Around 4 o'clock, yeah.
Around 4 o'clock, and you didn't sound yourself. And you were going off, and you were like, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. And so the first thing that came to my mind is, well, could you at least send me some of your season codes for your die so I don't got to drive all the way up there,
My mother would have sent them to you. In fact, you'd have driven down to Saugus and shoved them in your rectum at Hockey Town, but go right ahead.
Yeah, no, but in all seriousness, you called me and we talked for, not long, but you talked for a little bit.
It wasn't long.
And looking back at it now, it was like I was concerned, but by the time we hung up the phone, I was like, I think this is more of a mental thing than it's a physical thing, because it's not like you were throwing up, and it's not like you were bouncing off walls. It's not like you had physical ailments. It wasn't a COVID thing. It's just somebody had possibly slipped something in your drink, and you were just kind of like in la land.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and so as much as it wasn't any fun for you, by the time you hung up the phone and said, I says, I don't think this is a life or death thing. I think it's just one of these.
By the time that I had called you, I think you were the second call I made. I knew that things were going to be okay. I wasn't sure what was going on.
Yeah.
But I had pretty much convinced myself that it was going to be okay. And so, last time I played Parcheesi with Bill Walton, that's for sure.
So luckily, like I say, I was just, I was like, okay, he's just got to let this, sweat this out and just get it out of his system, which you did, and you're better now. But it's still quite the adventure. Still wasn't any fun. So if you want to catch up,
it's Wednesday. This is what, day 4, and there's times where I get groggy. I mean, I didn't do anything.
Oh yeah, that stuff will take a toll on you if you don't.
Yeah, we talked a long time on Sunday. And I felt 1,000% better than I did on Saturday, and I couldn't believe the difference in how well I felt Monday compared to Sunday, and vice versa. But so this is day 4, and I'm still going through, not tripping or anything like that.
Well, it's one thing if you do that stuff all the time and you're expecting it, but when
you're expecting it's what you're going to do.
Now it's like, what the hell? So you fought it, and you were tired from fighting whatever was in your system, and it was just it's not funny. I mean, we joke a little bit now because you're okay, but really it's just not a funny situation there.
No, to realize, not to belabor the point, but we're thinking from the symptoms I had and my wife had that we were given a date rape drug. We literally were roofied.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, dishwater or anything like that, although I can't imagine anything being strong enough in a restaurant that would do that. It's not summertime. It's not like
I would think that if do you hear the stories of they didn't clean the glass out good enough, or that maybe they were cleaning the machine and they didn't get all the chemicals out, but that you would probably smell or taste that, and
it tasted just fine.
Most likely, when you ingest that kind of poison, you're vomiting to try to get it out.
Yes.
So, and you weren't having any of that.
I threw up once, but that was it. But not nauseous again. And of course, when we're going through and I'm finally feeling well enough to grab something to drink, guess what's sitting by the bed, by the microphone here? The coffee. And so that was the first thing I drank. So double that.
Wow, yeah. But just you're all right now. And
we're lucky.
Yeah.
We're considerably lucky. My wife doesn't drive. We had errands to run, so it wasn't like she got in the car and crashed it, or God forbid had to go to work and try to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, so many bad things could have happened if you guys were on a long trip or something like that. I mean,
imagine hitting a rest stop on an interstate,
or if you were going into work, if she was like a doctor or something and she's in the middle of surgery, it's like come on,
Yeah, it was bad and scary enough as it is, but all things considered, I think
you just had a nice little ride on a Saturday afternoon, which is
I wanted to play top of the stretch.
Yeah.
But no, I went for a horsey ride of my own, I guess.
Yeah.
So pretty much that's what I've done the last 4 days.
Yeah, but we have played a little bit of stuff,
Right.
So see, one of the things that I played up, I got my red, white, and blue racing set up. It's on the table. I got my mat laid out. I'm reading the instructions. I'm watching the videos on YouTube so I can get ready to roll my first set of drivers out and see how red, white, and blue racing goes. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm playing a lot more of my basketball season with PC Replay Basketball, the 85-86 Celtics. I think I'm at...
You love the New York Knicks. Just love
man, we had a really, really bad first quarter the other night. In fact, that's one of our show topics is just... was it just gaming frustrations? And that was just that whole first quarter was the epitome of what we're going to be talking about on the show and future show. So yeah, I'm enjoying the game itself, but I've had some bad games, and that was one of them there. Let's see.
Go ahead.
So let's see. I played some of that. I haven't got back to my PC Replay Baseball 79 season. That's still ongoing. I just haven't played any of that. I did fire up Action PC Hockey, the 69-70 Boston Bruins season. I think I'm going to play every game on that. It's going to be a longer-term project. I streamed the first game against the Rangers, so it was ironic that I had Celtics-Knicks one night, and the next night it was Bruins-Rangers. So that was
for the Red Sox and the Yankees.
Yeah, I know, right?
Maybe a little Patriots and Jets.
There we go. So I fired up to the 69-70 season. Bruins had a nice win over Jacquemin and the Rangers, although Jacquemin stood on his head. He made like 44 saves in that game.
Didn't Eddie have a history, though, of standing on his head?
And that's one of the season he played without a mask, too, 70. I don't think he put on his mask till 71 or 72.
I still can't fathom that.
Yeah, I mean, you look back at it now and you're like, wow, it was a different time back then. And let's see, I played the second game offline. We beat the Seals. But I'm going to try to stream one of every team is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to stream all 78 games or whatever it is, but I'd like to stream 10 or 15 of those in that season anyway, or at least 20 maybe. Well, how many teams are? I will get every team in there once. Gump Worsley. I want to see Gump Worsley. And, obviously you want to play, Canadians and Blackhawks back then. The original 6 teams would be fun. And let's see, what else did I play? Oh, well, I guess in non-gaming stuff, I played this little card game called Bandito. And I did a video on that on my channel, and it's
Fritos while you did it.
Frito the Bandito, yeah. It's like this Hamburglar looking guy. Remember the Hamburglar from
Yes,
McDonald's?
I do.
He looks like that without the big hat, and he's in a jail, and it looks like it's like some old West or some old Mexican jail, and that's what the card looks like. And he's tunneling out. He's trying to tunnel out of the jail. And so the idea is that you need to go and block all the tunnels off and arrest the bandito, okay? So how you do that is, it's supposed to be played multiplayer, but I've been playing it by myself. You can play it by yourself. That's not a big deal. And so you lay down these cards, and you're kind of expanding the tunnel, as
that would be fun with two people. You want me to play it?
Yeah, you can play this on Board Game Arena. I was playing it the other day on Board Game Arena, and I keep losing. I keep losing the game myself. But it's been a fun game. You just lay the tunnel down, and then you try to seal off the tunnel and capture the bandito. And it's easy to play. It's hard to win. And so Bandito's been a lot of fun. And like I said, you can play it electronically on Board Game Arena, which is kind of cool. Let's see. The other non-sports game I played was holy cow, was the gunship game.
Battleship with a gunship?
Pocket Landship. Pocket Landship, it's called. And
you're taking your chances asking me to recall things from the
and this is kind of, it's like a Space Invaders game where you have your 3 guys at the bottom and they have 9 guys at the top coming down 3 at a time at you, and you're rolling dice and you're trying to destroy their first line enemy to get to the second line enemy to get to the third line enemy. In the meantime, you're trying to not take damage, you're trying to heal up in the whole bit, and it's just a dice rolling game. And I played on easy mode the other day, and I actually defeated the enemy on easy mode. So again, we talk about first impressions a lot. So that first impressions of that game is really good because I won. So I won the first game I played of Pocket Landship, and that's actually a print and play game. I think over at Board Game Geek, if you look for Pocket Landship, you can print it out and play it for free. But it's kind of like just like a black and white line art type of thing, and they're really different than the cards you get with the game, because I think I printed it out and I played it. It's like, this is fun, but when I looked at the actual final product of the game itself that they sell, it is just ridiculous. The cards are gorgeous. The game is gorgeous. It's a small game. It's only, like I say, it's only a handful of cards on the table. It's easy to learn. It's fun to play, and the cards just look so good. I bought the game itself, and I was like, so. But if you want to try it for free, you can try it for free as a print and play. And it's just, you just need some dice to roll. Fun game.
Dice mechanism, your dice, kind of like Risk, your dice beats their dice, and that's how you win? Or
no. What's neat about this game? It's almost like a sports game. It really is. Whereas you roll 3 dice, and you start with three cards, okay? And you roll 3 dice, and then you determine which one of those dice is going to go on which card, because you got a 1 to 6 on each card, and 1 to 6 does different things.
Okay.
So 1 to 6 on the first card might be, restore 1 armor. 1 to 6 on the second card, you say it was a 2, it does 2 damage. And then you look at 1 to 6 on the third card to see, what the other dice would do. So you have 6 choices on each card. So you decide what dice goes where. So I'm going to put the 3 on the first dice, the 2 on the second dice, and the 5 on the third dice. And that's going to, repair me, and it's going to do some damage. So that's my turn. And then the enemy, you do the same thing. You roll the dice, and you put them on the enemy cards, except for the enemy, you just go numerical order, lowest to highest, left to right, and then you read off the card. And
so there's no chart or to make it more random, so you're not trying to cheat yourself? Or
No, there's really no way to cheat yourself, because it's just, you look on the card and just, you got to decide what you want. And sometimes it's you don't take any action. Sometimes it's like a missed shot or whatever it is, or no actions taken, or just, sometimes the enemy will retreat and you bring in the next enemy, So you have to do what's on the cards. Everything's right there on the cards. There's no charts. There's no nothing in this game. It's just, you put your dice on the card and say, okay, I'm going to take option 2, option 5, and option 4. And then you read off what it does.
Nice.
Yeah. Very simple. Very fun. And again, first impressions, I won my first game. So I really like it, And
cool.
we even have some really good discussions on some of the videos I've done on YouTube with some people about first impressions in games and the whole bit. And
it's so big, I think, because if you play something and you don't like it, you really fought to enjoy Hockey Blast.
Yeah, I did. You stuck
with it.
I stuck with that one, and one of our listeners was posting about that, and he just said, my first game of Hockey Blast, I think he said he had like lull penalty. And it just killed the game for him. And he said, I haven't been back. And I said, well, like I said, we talk first impressions a lot about, and that can happen. I mean, if you sit down in front of a game and you roll some bizarre things, and not that a lull is a bizarre thing in that game because it's a 7, but if you don't get any flow going, if you don't have any fun right off the bat, you kind of
right off the bat, if you've not played the game before,
yeah, you're thinking, well, is this what this game's going to offer? This is just not any fun at all. And I've had that with games too, where you're looking up charts, you get lost. Okay, let me roll the dice again and get a different result. Let's see what I can do with this game beyond what I'm getting for dice results. And so he was having a hard time with Hockey Blast, and I said, look, I did too. And I went back at it 4 or 5 times before it finally clicked, and I'm still find that I'm playing it wrong. Like I'll read the fine print, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm still playing it wrong. I am having my fun with it, and I did buy a bunch of seasons, so I'm glad I stuck with it. But yeah, it is one of those games where just depending how the dice go, it can right off the get go. Like my first the other day I played a game, rolled the dice, injury right off the opening face off. Yeah, it
could happen, but that's not what you want.
Yeah, so sometimes you just run into the odd stuff right off the bat, and I suppose you could write it into the story in your head. You could say, well, he took an errant stick or whatever happened if something flew. But
wasn't feeling well before the game.
Yeah, but sometimes you just want to play the game, and when you get all this bizarre stuff right off the bat, it does kill the momentum of the game. So I can see where that is there. So anyway, but and then the big one that we've both been playing. In fact, ID Jester's been playing this game as well.
Kind of the impetus to this episode.
As we've been playing this game on Steam. It's a free game. It's free. Now you can buy upgrades and stuff as you do with free games, called Gems of War. And it's basically from the makers of the people who made Puzzle Quest. And picture Bejeweled. If you've ever played Bejeweled, it's a match 3 type of game. But instead of just matching colors on the board there, you're doing that in some kind of a battle. So you have your team on the left, you're fighting the team on the right, you're creating, you're combining colors, and when you get so many of a certain color, then you can cast your attack on the opponent, and that's when you have the battle. And there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of strategy in it. It's easy to play. It's free to play. The graphics are really nice for a simple puzzle game, and it was just a fun departure, you will, from all the sports games we've been playing. And I've been learning a lot of new games lately. And I was like, this Gems of War, it's nice to kick back. It just plays with the mouse. And so ID started playing it, and then you started playing it. And so, what do you think about that game?
It kind of combines elements of chess and role-playing games. And so you really kind of have to take your time and think about moves and see what you're leaving your opponent. And just it's, again, easy to learn. And I would say moderate to master. It's not impossible to master, but fun.
Yeah, it's fun. You get different characters. You can level them up. I mean, there's treasure chests to open. There's upgrades to do for your team, and
a lot of the multiplayer role playing games. It really the whole premise is to do things in a group and make friends. And really, what I'm looking for, and I'm doing that type of thing, is just a solo experience.
Yeah,
I really don't. Outside of the shows and stuff, I really am quite introverted. And so the last thing I want to do is sit there and entertain other people when I don't want to be entertaining other people. Yeah. So
you can actually play this head-to-head with somebody if you'd like. And
people versus people combat.
I just play against the computer, and I unlock the different towns you can unlock, and then you go on the quest. And it's little kind of quirky, corny storylines you can follow, and there's a little bit of humor in it. But it's just
I'm my 4th one of those, and I need to But yeah, it's been a great deal of fun. And the day after my incident was one of the first things I did, because if I felt right trying to solve puzzles, it got the mind working. I really was able to get the mind working quite good and quite well. Use the right English, Ron. To do that, and that was a good thing, because you have to match, and you have to think, and you have to know when to use your cards, and how long do you want to leave not be able to collect gems when you need to play the spell. So it was a good thing. It would be kind of not as difficult as Sudoku, which we'll get into in the meat part of the show, but very similar to the fact that that you can be as complex and as entertaining as you want it to be.
Yep, it is a little bit of strategy.
There are worse ways to spend an evening.
Oh yeah, it's one of these games that you pick up. You can really figure it out how to play it really easy. Now there's a lot to it if you want to get into the upgrades and the teams and all this other stuff, but just the actual game itself, matching the gems and attacking the other team, it's really fun and it's easy and it's very enjoyable. And they got the Christmas theme going on right now, so they play Christmas music.
New Year's today I played, and they're all wearing the Mardi Gras style hats for New Year's.
Yeah, because they had the Santa hats on.
Those are great.
Those are great, and they were playing like some of the old, almost like a Trans-Siberian Orchestra theme in the background. Where they were. I shut off the music because that just annoys it. Oh, I love it. I was like, that was kind of cool. While you're playing the game there, and you had a Christmas theme going. So a lot of fun. So Gems of War, we've both been playing. So check that out on Steam.
Let's see, what else have I been playing? Real quick. Started my 1949 baseball replay. Dave was thrilled beyond belief. Mm-hmm. You could just tell by the genuine appreciation in his voice.
49 is one of my favorite baseball seasons.
It's a good thing that Christmas was over because Santa could tell you're lying. So we just started the second week of that, and thankfully my parlay into the world of whatever the heck that did not disrupt the replay. That's the most important thing. We didn't miss the broadcast for that.
And that was with the new version of baseball, right?
The new version of Action PC Baseball 2021. There are some subtle changes. I haven't found any in the AI yet. There's been some cosmetic changes. I think it makes the game better, as most of Dave Cook's changes are. Kind of like, okay. For instance, the ball is now always on the screen. I think you can take that off, though. One of those things like, I didn't realize I needed this, but this makes it look better. So started that, and so we started really week one of that replay, yesterday as a matter of fact. And I also bought, it's not Gary Stishan, and Gary, I still owe you an email. Lon Whitehead has a horse racing game out called Top of the Stretch. And Richard Hanna, who we have both expressed our undying love for his work, PC Replay, baseball, basketball,
second and 10,
soccer, second and 10, all that, has a horse racing game out. And Richard literally took a spreadsheet game and turned it into a computer program. And before things happened, I was starting to really get into that. I didn't play much over Christmas. And so you can run it like you would if it was on the spreadsheet. Or if you just want to bet on the races, you can set it to go with full animation. And you can watch the horses go. And I showed you that. Was it Christmas Eve we were doing that?
Yeah, we sat down one night and you shared the screen. And that was fun watching you do that. I was like, boy, if you like horse racing and all, that looked pretty cool.
I mean, it's very cool that we have 2 new horse racing games out. This one comes with the Breeders' Cup set for 2020. If you purchase it for $38 or $37.95, I got the 100 greatest horses of the 20th century, and it's cool because it came as a double set. You could do the 100 greatest horses by career, or the 100 greatest horses by season. So you don't necessarily have the same 100 horses.
Okay,
I'm sure there are some that maybe didn't race after a certain amount of time, and you can't send them on to 3.5-mile marches. I'm sorry, certain person, that we can't do that. But you can bet on the races, and it keeps track of that all for you. And essentially what this game does is build a speed index. And it shows you, just like every other Richard Hanna game, how you get there. And I just found it, you can't roll your own dice with this one. It's about the only thing I can kind of nitpick on. But aside from that, I like the game. So those are primarily the 2 sports games I've been playing.
Okay. So should we roll into the topic of the day?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'd like to talk a little bit about the non-sports games that we play. In fact, we did a little bit earlier there. And, Ron, once in a while, you just, like I say, you want to step away from the field or the ice or the court or whatever. And just sometimes you just want to shoot something. Sometimes you want to challenge your mind a little bit. Sometimes you just you see somebody playing a game, but boy, that looks really neat. And now that I've been kind of, doing my cards and dice sports games, I've been looking into cards and dice board games as well, like different games there. Now, we all played a bunch of board games when we were kids, the whole bit, and,
We're
whatever.
not talking about Sorry or Parcheesi or Pitfall on the Atari here.
Yeah, no, but we played the parlor games, they were called, as a kid. You know what I mean? You got these board games as a kid, and Chutes and Ladders and all this stuff, and Monopoly and Life and all that, and Risk and Stratego, all those games there. But let me tell you, there's a whole community out there of board gamers that are playing some really in-depth games, stuff that I will probably never, ever play. But the lighter games intrigue me, and like I say, once in a while you just get tired of the sports, and you're like, okay, I want to play a game, but I just want to get away from sports, and I want to
shut your mind.
Yeah, I don't want to have to worry about my childhood anymore for a little while. I just want to play something a little bit different, and that's where I found like the Pocket Landship game, where I don't even know how I stumbled on that. I subscribe to a whole bunch of board game YouTube channels, and I think somebody was showing this off. And it might have even been in the Print and Play group. I'm in a Print and Play group. And I think they were talking about this game, and then someone said, yeah, it's fun, but you definitely want to buy it because they've done such a great job upgrading the cards, and I talked a little bit about that in what I was playing. But those type of games can be really fun, and I set the Pocket Landship up, and I played that, and that was really fun. So between the board games and then Gems of War on the PC, I was kicking around I was playing, I don't know what they call turn-based strategy games. I was trying to play some of those on the computer where you send your forces over there and, you start shooting, and then they start shooting you, and then you got to heal up. And sometimes it's fun just to kick back with just the mouse in your hand and just play a relaxing game that, some of them are timed, some of them are not. I choose the casual games where if I want to take 20 minutes to make my move, I can make my move. If the wife comes home, I can go up, leave the game, go talk to her. I'm not, when I used to play on the PlayStation and the Xbox there, you're playing these games, you're like, holy cow, if I get up and walk away, my guy's going to die and the team's going to lose.
Yeah, you can only pause for 30 seconds.
Yes. So
that's not what you want.
Yeah, I like to play these games usually by myself. Or sometimes I'll take them over people's houses. Like there was this one game I played that was really great. It was called Fuse.
That was fun.
Fuse. Fuse I got, and I brought it over. I think I had it last year at Thanksgiving or Christmas, and we played it with the family there. And I think you can play it by yourself, or you can play it up to 4 or 5 people, I think. And the idea is you have these cards on the table. You flip over a card, and they show you either colors or numbers. And then you pull dice out of a bag, and to defuse the bomb, you need to put the dice on your cards that match what the card is asking for, and then you diffuse that part of the bomb. And then so the idea is that you depending on the difficulty level, there's so many cards you have to diffuse.
Very much like one deck dungeon that you were playing.
Kind of, yeah. So you're all choosing from the same dice. So someone rolls, and you look at the dice, and you're like, okay, who needs what? Who can defuse a bomb? Who can defuse their card? And so you're working together on this thing, and there's a timer. There's a 10-minute timer. There's an app on the timer, and it counts down, and they got some lady going, 9 minutes, 30 seconds. And it's like tick, 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 and they got music playing. And
more and more pressure.
Yeah, and the music gets going, and the pressure kicks on. No, 30 seconds till total destruction. And it's just fun. You're all saying, oh, quick, roll the dice. I need this. I need a 2. I need a 2, and just, it's almost like Go Fish, but everyone playing together, And so Fuse is so much fun, too. So there's a whole bunch of games out there that are non-sports related that it's a fun break away from the sports.
Yes, absolutely. I'm into card games. So I had the Hoyle set. So I taught myself how to play canasta.
There's an old game, canasta.
Yeah,
didn't that use 2 decks of cards, canasta?
Yes, we do. You need to make sets and stuff like that. Gin, rummy, cribbage. Because my wife works nights, and so I'm alone pretty much every night. Yahtzee's another one I play a lot of. And so just kind of like, okay, you're sitting there and you got your tunes going, and you're just kind of chilling out, and you don't have to worry about making a mistake, or if you're tired about, oh God, I messed this up for that, and now I got to restart the replay. And how do I do that?
Yeah.
And also because I do a lot of this stuff and count it as work, you don't really want to do work 24/7. Mm-hmm. So that sort of thing. I've done some of the multiplayer role-playing games, EVE Online, which has a learning curve as steep as the Grand Canyon, and some airline simulations. And in fact, in the beginning part of March and April, we were doing some train sim stuff. So there's lots of other things that I play that do not have to do with hooking home runs or field goals. But you got me into Gems of War, darn you. And I've gotten hooked into that. Business sims, things that I like, things that challenge my mind. And at the same time, it doesn't challenge it to the point where it gets dull. And again, because I think we're really the board game boom has been longer than the sports game boom, but there's definitely a boom for that. And there's Board Game Geek, as you said, and Board Game Arena, where you can play some of this stuff. It's designed for people who just can't drop everything if a kid spills something, or you got to open the door for the DoorDash dude, or whatever. And I think that experience of getting off or using the computer for a board game where you kind of direct the adventure, kind of like sports games, again, just uses the mind, lets you think about things that I'm not a huge sci-fi fan. Okay, I like Star Trek, but and some Star Wars. But as far as I'm not going to sit and watch a marathon of Baby Yoda. The Mandolin, is that the name of the? I
was thinking about watching that at some point.
I bet it's pretty good. Everyone was raving about how season 2 ended. I'm not a movie guy. I'm not going to run out and binge watch the Avengers. Okay, that's just not my cup of tea. But to be playing some of these kind of mini role playing games, it's different from playing, as you said, it's a difference from playing whatever it is that you normally play.
Yeah,
and it kind of makes the time I do spending sports gaming more enjoyable, because it doesn't feel like I'm being forced to play.
Yeah. It's a nice change of pace. It's a breath of fresh air. I like to find these games on Steam that you can play, whether they're like board games that are converted to video. There was one I played that was really unique. It was called Video Game Designer or Game Designer or something like that. Okay. And it was this little kid working in his garage. And not a little kid, but younger dude in his garage. And the idea is you started off in like the.
Hey, at our age, they're all little kids, buddy.
But the idea was you started off in like the early '70s, mid '70s when video games were coming up, and and so you started off as a game designer in your garage, and you'd say, what kind of game do you want to make? What is the theme? And so there's a couple different categories, and then you see you guys start working on it, right? And you get a little bit of money to start the game, and so as the longer you take on the game, the more money you spend, and then you decide when you want to release the game. So then you release the game, and you sit back and you see how the sales do for the game. And sometimes the sales are good, sometimes. So I get to a point where I released a football game that went. Now again, time goes on, so now I'm going from the 70s to the 80s. You know what I mean? And so you're trying to think, well, what was big back then? So I created a football game on the computer that did really well, and then I created like a western on a console, one of the new, which they don't call it the Atari or the Nintendo, but it's implied. It's implied.
Intel Cider instead of it.
Yeah, whatever it is. So you're designing the game, and then it's just how many bugs are in the game. So you got to work on the bugs to get the bugs out of the game. But the longer you take, though, it might take you a month to work out the bugs in the game. So you got to pay another month's rent. So that's how much less money you're going to make on the game. But so when do you release the game? How many bugs do you want in it?
Games like that.
Yeah, they're kind of fun. And then you need to research how to do other things. So you might research on how to make a certain game, or research on how to work on a certain console. Then you can hire people. Then you can rent office space. And I was playing that, and I had $1 million in my account. That's how I was doing, and I ended up losing it all. because the rent was just so high. I had to fire people because the game was a flop. One flop of a game and you're done. And so, yeah, video game designer or game designer, whatever it was called, it was like, I think it was like a $5 game. And I had so much fun with that. Just sitting there designing the game. What theme do I want to come up with?
To play a game.
And then you could name the game too. And I had my buddy here playing with me, and he goes, let's create this really weird game with a weird name. And I don't know if it was called like Trailer Park something or whatever it was. And the game did pretty well. It was fun watching that. And I heard they just come out with one that's a writer version where you write books and novels, and so you can choose like what kind of book it's going to be and the whole bit. And it's on the same presence of making a video game, but you're writing books.
Hey, I only made $1,000 writing for 5 years. I bet I would make more in a game than I wouldn't.
But yeah, but that was another fun game, completely different than sports that I played. That was fun.
I used to play a game called Hollywood Mogul. I think it was Hollywood Mogul 2. And you would go through and you would hire the stars, and you would green light scripts, and it would give you a grade for the script. And if it wasn't up to snuff, you'd send it back. And so similar to what you were talking about, revisions and stuff. And sometimes you went with trends, and you'd release something that maybe was a big budget movie, flop, or some artsy fartsy thing. And Romeo, everyone loves Romeo and Juliet. I mean, we have, that's what Hallmark shows at Christmas, except for there's trees and incense involved. And you'd make $1 billion, and then you'd be forced to make the sequel. And could you get everybody back for the sequel? So yeah, the tycoon games, I really do enjoy. I play one called Wall Street Raider, which is another indie game. And it supposedly is a realistic simulation of the economy. And they give you $1 billion, which, that's a pretty good start for you invest it. And I think the most I played is like 8 or 9 years, and that was worth 50, 60 billion.
Oh, that's cool.
You become the richest person in the world. And, okay, you still can't buy Citicorp or Ford, but yeah. You can.
That's fun.
Your force.
You know what I also enjoy playing is the how I actually get into PC gaming a handful of years ago was the tower defense games. I really like the tower defense games. Defense Grid and Defense Grid 2 are a couple of my favorites, whereas it's kind of some sci-fi alien type of movie where you're on this planet and you got to set up your defenses. You put up the guns, and you can put up a inferno, which is fire. You can put up a cannon. You can put up lasers, and the aliens have a path they take, and they have to stick to the path, and then you put your guns along the path, and you can upgrade the guns as you kill the aliens. You get more money to upgrade the guns, and the idea is, as each wave comes, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger to a point where you get these big guys that you're riddling. And I think I set up like 25 infernos, and it's just one big fireball they're walking through, but it only did a little bit of damage. So you can see their health like creeping down little by little by little, and they're trying to get to the end to steal the energy cores and then come back the other way, So the tower defense games, especially the Defense Grid, I've really enjoyed that. I played that on console and on Steam, and I think I've streamed that a couple of times. So it's just a fun, again, kickback. You set up your towers and then you watch it go, and you can even change the speed of it too, so they can go a little faster, a little slower, so you don't got to sit there and watch the whole thing. And sometimes you're sweating it out. It's like they've stolen all of your energy cores and they're ready to leave, and that one last gun's plugging away at the guy, and he finally kills the big boss, and all the energy cores go back to your stock. So the tower defense games are fun. I really like them.
I'm a big fan of City. Oh crap!
Is it Skylines?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Not the week to be asking Ron to recall things. City Skylines, and I finally have a computer that can run it.
Oh, good.
Those kind of flight simulator. It's like, okay, we're going to stretch everything here. Oh, you have a laptop? Oh, so sorry. It's a city painter game as opposed to a city builder. I mean, yes, you can have disasters and have traffic jams, so you can't take care of your dead. But it really is just one of those mindless games. You can now name streets and highways, and I think I've streamed that once or twice. In fact, once it crashed the computer.
I remember that. I remember you streaming it, and it's like, it died. And it was like early in, too. And I don't think you could get it fired up again. So I think you
get fired up. So, I mean, those sort of things, again, where you're required to think because I'm not really one that will sit there and play something that doesn't involve pinball. ID Jester. We should have named the show after him. He was playing the Pinball FX, and I bought that. And I just love it because that's probably the most mindless thing. And yes, because it's on the computer, I can hit one button.
What's even more mindless than that is I had a puzzle game, an actual classic puzzle game on Steam, and I ended up buying all the expansion packs when they were all on sale. Yeah, and I just sat there and you just put the puzzles together right on your computer. And it's just I would put something on YouTube, somebody would play a game or a show, and I would just listen to or the radio and put together a puzzle, and it was just so relaxing. It was just really fun doing these puzzles. No pressure at all. Take as long as you want. Just put.
And I think that's a lot of the draw of what you and I play without the sports. There's no pressure. Because the sports games don't have a time constraint. You go when you go. There's pressure in making the right decisions at certain times, and when do I pull the pitcher, and when does I need to yank this line out, and yada, yada, yada. But you can go at your own pace. And with these, it's all the same thing. You can go at your own pace. You don't need to make the wife happy. Can you make your turn now? My show's on in 10 minutes. That's not fun, but you know what I'm saying.
What I thought was funny is that I actually, just for fun, I streamed me doing a puzzle. And I had 10 or 15 people in there watching me do a puzzle, and the chat room was like, I can't believe I'm sitting here watching somebody do a puzzle. But it was just chilling out, and we were just chatting, having some fun, and it was just so different. It was doing this jigsaw puzzle was just so different than anything I had ever done on the channel. I said, let me just stream it and just see what kind of results we get, And then a few people asked me what game it was, and they went and picked it up. And there's so many just relaxing games. But then there's the thinker games. Like I said, we got our puzzle games that are not jigsaw puzzles, that are actually puzzle games. Right. There's actually a fun game I played called Puzzle Agent. You should check this out. Puzzle Agent and Puzzle Agent 2. And they're exactly one. Well, obviously, there's 1 and 2. One
is the expansion of the other, or they're just
they're the same game. It's 2 is a continuation of 1, and they purposely made this boring storyline with this. There's a puzzle agent that works for the U.S. government, okay, and he has to go to Scoggins, Minnesota, to find out why the company that makes pencils for the White House shut down. It is the most ridiculous theme to a game.
Mundane.
But they made it like that. And here's a guy that's getting paid to solve puzzles working for the government. And so he is sent to go find out why they shut down. And, of course, he goes there, and you solve all these puzzles. Like you go into the hotel, and the lady's like, well, I can't book you a room because I can't get my hot stove working. Can you maybe assemble it for me? So you go over the hot stove and you assemble the pipes in order so that the heat goes up through, and that's how you do the game like that, is you go through and you solve these little puzzles in the game. Someone's like, yeah, sure, I can help you. I can give you a ride up to the pencil factory, but you're going to have to go and, put my engine to my car together, and you do a little puzzle for that. And so check it out, Puzzle Agent and Puzzle Agent 2. I want to go back and play them. It's a silly, cartoony storyline it's a lot of fun, and it's just so relaxing to play. And they I think they'll even show you the solution to the puzzle if you can't get it. There's a couple of puzzles I didn't get. There was one at an ice skating rink where there was all these still frames of somebody on the ice and a Zamboni, and you had to put them in the correct order. And I just couldn't figure that one out. Go figure it. An ice hockey rink, I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, that would not be the one I was.
But I finally gave up, and they showed me the solution and stuff. So it's meant to be a casual, fun game. It's not meant to be any kind of a gotcha or whatever. But check out the Puzzle Agent games. I think they were $5. And they were so fun. And I would if they had 10 of them, I'd play 10 Puzzle Agents, because they were it was a silly storyline, happy-go-lucky, just nice break from reality type of game.
Awesome. Yeah. So I think we've all played them. And so I guess to close this out, what do you guys do for gaming? I know some of you play Gin. We've watched. What do you do for gaming outside of sports? Is there something that you guys play together as a family, or something that you've discovered in the last year that you wouldn't have thought that you had played before? Or are you a fan of the classics?
And how often do you do that too? How often do you take a break? If you take a break, or are you strictly sports? Are you're always going to do the sports, or from time to time do you like to play something different? And if so, how often do you make that change? And what are those games? We'd like to know what you're interested in, because I know we do have some wargaming people that like to do some wargaming, and I know we have people who like to play the card games. So we're interested to know, aside from sports, which I guess is what draws us all together, this community. What other things do you like to play? What other games do you like to play? And what draws you to them? And how often do you play them? Do you just want to break from the sports, or do you just discover a new game, or do you We're just interested to know what are your non-gaming, non-sports gaming habits? Absolutely. So anyway.
And there's no game that's too silly. So even if you are a fan of Sorry,
yeah. I enjoy playing the old board games on here once in a while. There's a version of Battleship that I have on my PlayStation 4 that actually you can shoot volleys. So you shoot three at a time. So you take 3 targets, and then it shows you like it goes to a animation of a sub, and it turns the missiles, and it shoots them off, and if it hits, it shows the explosions, and it's like an animated version of Battleship, and I would play that for hours. It was like, man, it's a souped up version of one of your favorite games as a kid. How do you beat it? How do you beat that? So so there's a lot of fun you can have with those there. So anyway, all right, so should we wrap up episode 69?
Yes, the one we're not talking about.
So this has been episode 69 of the Digital to Dice podcast. We recorded this December 30th of 2020. We're finally getting rid of 2020. I'm hoping for better things in 2021. So we thought we'd wrap up the end of the year by talking about some non-sports gaming things that we enjoy playing. Ways to get a hold of us. Digitaltodice.com is the website that goes right over to Spreaker, where we park all of our podcasts. 978-751-DICE, 978-751-3423 is how you can text the show. And the new email, digitaltodice@yahoo.com, so you can send us an email now directly, and we will get that. And also head over to cafepress.com/digitaltodice if you want to find some cool Digital to Dice gear. Anything we want to add, Ron, before we head out?
I think we're pretty good. We wish you all a very Happy New Year.
Yep, have a Happy New Year. We'll catch everybody on the flip side in 2021. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.